CNBC-TV18 Weekender, only on CNBC-TV18.
Hello and a very warm welcome to this brand new episode of CNBC-TV18 Weekender. I'm Kritika Saxena. My guest for today is Kishore Lulla. He's the chairman of Eros International. There's a lot to talk about with respect to what lies ahead and what the road forward really means for Eros. Let's go in. Hi Kishore.
Hi Kritika, how are you? Good to see you after a long time.
I'm glad you're doing this. Yes, and I think this is the first time we finally have you talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Well, Kishore, let's start talking about, you have seen this industry for many years, and what's happening now is this influx of OTT, and it's a completely different, 3 years ago we didn't, India as we know it didn't know this model. Yeah. How, to your mind, you've been working with Eros since you were 16, I believe?
17 years.
17 years, yes. So how do you think the model has changed, the studio model to the OTT model, to what lies ahead? What's the journey been like?
Yeah, so I think journey, if you look at my journey, started when there was not even VHS. So I left India in about 1981. Yeah. And I went to Israel first to distribute Indian movies with Hebrew subtitles and the Arabic subtitles.
That was your main learning?
That was the first. And that time there was no VHS. Yeah. So the movies used to do 25 weeks, 50 weeks in the cinema itself. Yeah. And then came 1981, the VHS and Betamax. And I think Eros became the first company to embrace that two formats, VHS and Betamax, whereby the whole industry was betting that this is a fad and this will go away. I thought that consumer has got the right to choose. Yeah. The content remains content, the premium, always. The content will be consumed, but the methods will change.
How you consume changes.
How you consume. And when that happened at Eros, and we became successful because, and then Eros became a household name internationally. We didn't work in India, so it was the London distribution we started first. And then when we went from shop to shop, there was no legalized video system. So we started buying rights from the producers for those movies. Okay. And I remember I drove the car from London to Scotland and went shop to shop and asked them to buy. Wow. I was the first employee of my company. And that's how we developed the system. And then we targeted the whole South Asian diaspora outside of India. Okay. And VHS, everybody embraced. First came the VHS and Betamax, then came the satellite. Correct. And after the satellite, then you saw the digital movie channel. And we were the first one to even launch the digital movie channel before you. That was we co-founded. So that was in 1999. And then I remember also when the YouTube came, the Google came, we were the first company to even launch the YouTube channel. So when in 2006, I thought about India, and when we had the distribution network outside of India, so from 1982 to 2007, India was just giving us the supply of the movies. We never ventured into any India distribution or ventured into any production of the movies in India. So when I looked at India at that time, you know, production, so there were individual producers and there were actors, so there were you know, distribution companies. But there was not a single vertically integrated studio model whereby that you could say that that company is financing and that company is distributing his own and they are retaining the IP, you know. The idea is today the whole valuation, you know, and the revenue streams comes if you own the IP of the, you know, the content. So, and there was a mistrust in the value chain between the actors, between the producers, between the distributors, because, you know, there was not corporate governance or full transparency of the box office.
And there was the need for this
there was a need.
Model.
So I went and, you know, approached all our friends, you know, all our talent friends. I said, look, we want to get into this. We have been operating outside of India and distributing the product and taking the Indian films global, you know. So global means, you know, not only working for the South Asian diaspora, you know, of course the South Asian, the 50 million South Asian diaspora, which lives outside of India. They look back into India through three things. One, movies. Second, religion. Third, cricket. correct?
Absolutely.
So 3 things connect them back to India.
Yeah.
So movies is one medium. And when I looked at those movies at one medium, so I thought, why not now venture into this, create the Indian distribution network. But what you have to do is take the risk out of the business and bring in the transparency. And that's where, I was able to convince all the talent to take the back-end fees. And the vertically integrated studio model was born of Eros became a true globally vertically integrated studio model of the world, of India.
Okay.
And then you saw Fox, Disney, Viacom, everybody coming into India and following that model.
Which to your mind was the
Partner.
biggest turning around point? Which movie was the biggest for you?
I think in 2006 and 2007, the biggest movies were Partner with Salman Khan, Om Shanti Om with Shah Rukh, and then
And
even
that
Akshay,
took you to the
Hey Baby.
next
Yeah, and
leap.
then we kept on doing different movie, Omkara with Ajay Devgan. So we worked with breadth of all the talent,
Exactly.
different
Yeah,
models,
yeah.
and then evolving that, and then also commissioning more scripts, commissioning directors, co-production model.
Okay.
So kept on reinventing the model.
Now, talking about reinventing the model, the OTT model is now the next big bet. Let's talk about Eros now. 10.1 million subscribers, paid subscribers. It's 13.1 registered users already. What's the next target that you have in mind? 2020, what's the target that you've set for yourself?
Yeah. In 2013, I was on holiday with my family.
Okay.
And my elder daughter comes to me saying that, okay, look, this is what is happening in the US and everywhere. You have Netflix, you have iTunes, you have Spotify, you have Hulu, you have different models.
Yeah.
Now, we always believed in the new formats, as we said. So why don't we start a new platform whereby we can give them download to own or streaming, and we start this service whereby we have the largest library. So what happened in over the last so many years, we accumulated the biggest library.
Correct.
Now once we accumulated the biggest library, and then we were also having a large market share in the studio model whereby we were producing so many movies of co-production all across the 11 languages within India, not just Hindi. So that was a good idea, and that's how Eros now.
And that's worked now.
Eros now was born in 2013, combining the studio model with the OTT model.
So you're keeping all these points in mind, Kishore. 10.1 million so far. What's the target by 2020 in terms of subscribers?
2020, we're targeting anywhere between 25 to 50 million paying subscribers.
25 to 50.
50 million, yeah.
Okay. Kishore, we spoke about the OTT model and some important insights that you were sharing. But let's talk about the other side. The fact is, that the OTT model is still new in India. What, to your mind, are the immediate challenges? And, speaking about challenges, the TRAI is talking about regulating the OTT sector. How, to your mind, will that work? Will that restrict the kind of growth that OTT players could see in India?
See, so let's talk about the challenges. So at the moment, the challenges were, first of all, the broadband penetration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which still is an issue.
So I think we should thank Jio for that. So Jio brought about the transformation, by getting into the 4G, and now the same thing is done by Airtel and Vodafone and Idea, correct? Whereby the 4G will come, and then you will see in the next 2-3 years also 5G. So that will take the speed, whereby you can download a movie in maybe 2 seconds.
So the near-term challenges would be there, but at least in the next, say, 2 years' time, those issues will go.
2-3 years. The second challenge, as we talked about, so I think we have to abide by the law of the land.
Yeah.
If the
But is
tribe,
regulation necessary for OTT?
I don't think so, but I will leave it to the experts and the government to decide.
Yeah.
What is the nature, what are the threats, why they want to get it regulated. There will be a purpose for that. So we would abide by that law, and that will not, maybe it can delay some things, but it's not going to be a challenge.
It won't deter growth.
It will not deter growth.
Okay, fair enough. Kishore, you have a lot of ambitious plans for Eros now across the board. Tell me, what's the plan with respect to capital expenditure? In the near term, say either 2 years or 5 years' time, what's the guidance that you have in mind?
Sure. So if you look at in the last 10 years, Eros spent about $1.1 billion in capex, and we generated about 830 million in cash flow. And the balance was financed through the equity and some debt we have.
Yeah.
So our company's EBITDA today is around $80 million, and we are leveraged only 1.7 times. So we are leveraged very low. The EBITDA we are looking at in the next 5 years to go to anywhere between 200 to 250 million.
Okay.
We'll be spending about $250 million every year into CapEx.
Okay.
So between the two verticals of the business, one is the studio model and one is the OTT model.
Reliance invested in the company, about 5% stake. Would it make sense to bring in investors on board? Is there any plan of Reliance also increasing that stake or increasing investment into the company?
You see, we took 5% stake from Reliance. So after that stake, we're at 1.7 point leverage. We've got a good capital structure, a good balance sheet today. You know, if you look at vis-a-vis other studios and other OTT platforms across the globe, they would love to be leveraged like that. And
so there's no requirement for an investor
not
at
so
this
much
point.
as such, but yes, to build a war chest. If I want to build a war chest for an acquisition and consolidation, that's a different story altogether. But looking at subscribers, so 10.1 million subscribers in the next 5 years, how to go to 50 million more? You need 250 million capex,
correct,
and which is self-sufficient because we'll generate that cash flow.
So that is organic.
That's organic.
That is organic.
And once
and over and above that, if it's required, then you'll bring in an investor.
Of course, yes. Or even we can raise more debt because
What is the plan there with respect to fundraising for debt?
At the moment, I think at the moment we are keeping our head low, and we are concentrating on execution of the originals shows. Which is our key target in the next 1 year.
Okay.
Deliver about 20 big shows and 50 small shows. And from the 20 big shows in a year, have 2 or 4 on a big scale success.
Okay. Since you spoke about leveraging, could you help me understand what's the debt right now? If I'm correct, your finance costs are at about 80 crore rupees. Borrowing has gone up since 2014 till date. So what is the plan to pare down debt and pare down borrowings? If there's a target in mind that you have.
Yeah. You see, I'm talking at the group level.
Yeah,
you see,
absolutely.
So at the group level, as we said, 80 million EBITDA, and our gross debt, the cash we are holding, net debt is 140 million.
So by how much would you want to bring that down?
I think we don't even need to bring it down because I'm quite comfortable maintaining that kind of debt levels because I want the cash flow which is the company is generating to get deployed into the content and premium content, and that's where the focus is going to be. Because the premium content ultimately is going to give you a long tail subscribers.
Correct.
The subscribers want premium content.
Does it make sense to refinance debt in that case at this point?
I think no, the next debt due is 50 million pounds in 2022. So there is nothing actually 4 years, nothing, any debt is not due.
What's the plan for shareholders? Any plan for dividend in the near term that you're looking at?
No, not at all. You see, we are a growth company and the next 5 years are going to be in growth pattern. So any growth company should not give dividend because at the end of the day, we want the investor to make money. And once we deliver the more subscribers and premium content, their investment will go up. You see, once you're a very matured sector
so maybe
or
after,
a matured company,
if you were to look at a dividend for shareholders,
4 or 5 years down the line.
After 4 to 5 years.
Once
and that's the reason why you haven't looked at it till date.
Not at all.
Yeah. Kishore, we spoke about various points, various models that you're looking at. Help me understand, how exactly are you looking at monetizing the OTT platform? What are the various models over there?
So various models. So let's look at, first of all, geographically. Let's look at India and then outside of India. 2. So India, our ARPU is roughly $3.5 to $4 per subscriber with the telcos. And 100 rupees is premium. B2C is about $12. So that's the 2 ARPUs. Outside of India, you have ARPUs ranging from anywhere from $60 to $15. So average ARPU is coming out to roughly $30 to $35 outside of India. What we are targeting is, if we are targeting in 5 years 50 million subscribers in the service, you will have about 10 million coming out, so 10% coming out of outside of India and 90% coming from India. And from that 90%, in 5th year could be 60 to 70% from telcos or 50% from telcos and the rest B2C. That's the model we are looking at, and through partnerships.
Through partnerships.
So you will have the subscription revenue coming in, and then also we are starting some brand integration, not the advertising model with the CPM rates and the roll-on. No, not that. We don't want to spoil the consumer experience, but certain brands can be intelligently, basically get into the whole of the ecosystem of Eros now.
Okay.
So say suppose a playlist or originals, Eros now originals could be a brand, could be there, which we have talked to about 4 or 5 brands, and that we are starting about next year. So you will have a tiny MySQ's team from, a revenue stream from that also.
Okay.
But 95% is coming from the SWOT. And then, we have also got the data analytics, because, there are so many registered users, and then when the consumers are watching the film. So Eros now, you have a engagement of about 40 minutes today, if you look at the FICCI report. 40 minutes engagement, which is a industry standard is about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And Eros now engagement is about 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
So that's quite good and feels very good for the team here.
Yeah.
That we are having so much engagement.
Yeah.
That means our content is getting more engagement.
Okay.
We are getting more revenue. And then I think the only last, piece of the puzzle is the originals.
Yeah.
Once we get it right,
Okay.
I think then we have the whole puzzle right.
Okay, so you have ambitious plans, Kishore. What's the market share target for you? What's the target you have in mind for 2020?
So 2020, I think, we are looking at a revenue at the group level of about $450 to $500 million, $450 million roughly.
For 2020. What about profitability? What's the target
I
there?
think we're looking at 120 to 150 million EBITDA.
EBITDA.
Yeah.
We'll now go into the rapid fire segment of our show. Okay, so your time starts now, Kishore. Your favorite movie that has come out of Eros' stable?
Bajirao Mastani.
One movie that you wish would have come from Eros' stables?
3 Idiots.
Your favorite all-time movie so far?
Mother India.
Your favorite English film that you wish could have come from Eros' stable? Something that you would have liked to have
I love,
produced?
different genres, but I love Shawshank Redemption, and I love, all the James Bond movies. So either, James Bond or, totally two extremes.
Okay. Your favorite actor?
I've got too many, from Raj Kapoor to Dilip Kumar, Devanand, Rajesh Khanna, Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh, Salman, you name it all. I love them, and that's the reason I'm in this industry.
The best actor you liked working with?
Actually, I would say I loved them all, to work with, I didn't find...
Any one actor that was difficult to work with?
No. I have been so lucky to work with all of them, and we have been practically grown up in the industry together.
Favorite actress of India and overseas?
Anywhere from, say, suppose Vajanti Mala, Madhu Bala, now, you have Shri Devi to Madhuri, and then now Deepika and Alia, and, all of them.
Okay. Your mentor, who you have learned the most from?
Actually, I look up to Bill Gates a lot, because of how he built the business and also how he detached from the business and giving back to the society.
Okay. Your biggest success till date?
My biggest success till date has been my relationship with my family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you balance your work and your family life? You travel a lot, you live in London, you travel to India all the time, you travel to US. How do you balance it?
See, I think meditation does help me a lot, to focus. So I meditate in the morning, and then I plan my day. And in fact, I finish all my tasks well before the schedule. And I don't have even one email which is not answered for the next day. So I think, it's all in your mind. When you say that you will do it and you're not going to leave it for the next day, you achieve it. So I always plan my day ahead in advance, and I think I've been quite lucky in achieving all my tasks.
Any regrets?
Not at all.
No
Our
regrets.
life has been amazing ride.
When you look ahead, what's the one thing that makes you passionate? What's the next big leap for you? For Kishore Lulla personally?
See, for me personally, I think for me, I've achieved a lot of success because, as I said, success and happiness doesn't have a general definition.
Yeah.
A happiness, a beggar on the street could be more happier to the richest man in the world, correct? So it's all about relative theory. So for me, I think spending time with the family and balancing in the work.
That's your happiness mantra? Is that what makes
I
you?
think yes, does spending time with my family does give me happiness. But also, I think I've realized that yes, the work is my passion, but the scientists have also researched there are 4 hormones the body releases.
Yeah.
And the biggest happiness comes to you when actually you share something and do something for someone.
Yeah.
It could be time, it could be money, it could be helping hand, it could be anything. So I think you need all the 4 balancing acts.
Fair enough. Kishore, it was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much
for all the insights.
Sure.
And congratulations on the 10.1 million subscriber hit. And you have very ambitious plans going forward. So of course, we will be tracking your growth story. And hopefully, we should have you back soon once these milestones are crossed. And on that note, it's time to wrap up this special weekend edition with Kishore Lulla. Thank you so much for watching.
CNBC TV18 Weekender, only on CNBC TV18.